Dear brothers, every time we return an immense joy fills us. It is always an opportunity to have a closer contact. As you read these words, it is as if, for a moment, our energies interact more intensely in love, because these texts they open to receive us, so we can get closer. I thank you, brethren, by the faith that I have addressed these letters. They are magnificent moments of expansion of a spiritual consciousness. Not that there are other ways to accomplish this, but here we always have a great opportunity. So we have come to tell them about the flow. The flow of life, emotions, feelings, experiences. On the flow of your personal confrontations. And we will bring a lesson that is the result of observation of nature, because it is teaching in the flow, because nature often teaches us and shows us how to live. Watching her is a door to great lessons of wisdom. Stop, so to observe the mouth of a great river to meet the sea. Is there a constant interaction between the river and the ocean? The latter, much larger. So because the ocean does not invade the lowest, the river, with all its strength and greatness? I tell you, because there is a fluid interaction between both. If we observe the river at its source, we have the impression that it will be flowing steadily. That's how they see it from his perspective. But in its mouth, the phenomenon of tidal interaction with its moon and the movement of your planet and everything, controls the flow of the river. At high tide, the sea invades the river, momentarily hindering its flow. The force that the sea exerts on the river this time hinders its flow, but then, at low tide this pressure lessens, then the river back to its normal flow. Then the river flows at different speeds throughout the day, because in his mouth there is the ocean that dictates your pace. This river follows its course, sometimes flowing, sometimes returning with the force of the sea, and there will be even some moments of equilibrium between the sea and the river, which will be characterized by a softness in the water. As if, for a brief moment, the world of that river was paralyzed in its beating. That's life, now will flow at great speed. Other times, they will suffer great pressures to return a few steps. There will be times of momentary lull where nothing seems to move. Thus flowing life too. So we have come to bring you a new set of sacred teachings on the natural flow of life. How is the flow of feelings, emotions and experiences? We say about the process of experiencing this flow toward the ocean, to return to the light of creation, because although there is a natural flow, you often prevent this flow, not following the example of nature that flows next to life. The river does not fight the ocean because it has no power to it. There is the moon, the tide, the entire gravitational force of the earth and the solar system to dictate its flow, then it waits for the right time of creation, so that its flow to give again. We do not say this to remain inert, but rather to understand that some situations must be experienced as they are delivered. You must be alert and follow the signs that life brings them. Often experiments are presented to them, then you start to fight against it without first understand why it is being experienced that. Let us give you a very simple story, but they should expand it to other experiences. Use your perception. There was a fruit that was on the ocean and it was brought to the shore by the waves, to the beach. A person who was passing gave him a slight push, so he returned to the ocean. But life and insisted a new wave again brought this fruit to the same place it was. There was a sign of life so that the fruit was left there, in the sand. That person tried, but the signs showed him that this was not the flow of life, as the situation returned to their condition of origin. It brought him a sign that the experience should be experienced as was being presented. But you do not accept this sign, because they often do not realize that there is not only involved his will, but of all creation. Then you struggle and suffer with situations that are in your life just to teach them the flow of life. You try to throw again the fruit of the sea, although it has no control over his fate. They need to understand that moved situation, and the effort was in vain, because there is something more to be learned there. It was the force of creation that brought them to that experience. It is then up to you, experiencing it alone. But not. You get all the time to classify experiences as certain, wrong, good or bad. And forget that all are experiences. Check it out. You have experienced so many experiences. Many of you the forgotten because they have gone through you. Others, however, mark the deep and you then return to that situation for months, often years. Whenever this occurs, block, catch the flow, difficult and fail to accept the experience as they were delivered. Then you begin to fight against the situation. You wear, tire, until, at a certain time, exhaustion leads to delivery. In this particular time, wear is so great that you interrupt the fight and come to accept the situation. That brings them peace, and a brief day you realize that this experience is not to be repeated as before. It is as if the river realized it has no power to move the sea, then it starts to wait for low tide to flow again. See, beloved, that experiences come and should go. But while they are being experienced should be with the acceptance within the flow, following the signs of life, as does the river, and showed him the sea in relation to the fruit. When creating flow, the experience will be released from his life, because it has lost its function. You are, yes, breeders, but co-creators do not create themselves, that is, there is only your will, but a natural flow that will lead them to their way, that they need to experience the experience in physicality. It is a spiritual law. Do not try to return the result to the sea again and again, fight the tide when setting gives the signal that they should not do, because you would realize an effort to change something that has been designed that way. So if you accept that that is the position that experience and not fight against it, the experience is experienced with a spiritual awareness in an earthly plane. Observe this law in their lives and live the natural flow of their existence, seeking the meaning of life, experiences, seeking its evolution. And understand the experiences that natural flow. You will feel a great relief in their lives, how they feel now, when making contact with this way of seeing life. I am Master Serapis Bey and thank you for following its flow, because when they met on the site that had to be and living the experiences I had to try, were able to make contact with our energy and with these lessons of nature or life. With all my love. Serapis Bey.